Hello everyone. Want to make a video and kind of do some comparison between the two sites. See if we can kind of help clear some stuff up and gauge what the game plan is going to be here moving forward. Um, First things first, obviously, on the sand and Oceanside, when you had on the sand built, that was using a older version of the plugin. We now have a new version of the plugin that comes with some different settings and configurations and functionality that we have put in place for good reason. And I think that's where the comparison is throwing some stuff off, especially with the color coding of the calendars. And so let's see if I can better explain that here through a video. So we'll start with looking at on the sand. Okay, I'm going to go to arrival and let's move over into a summer month where we should be looking at a Saturday to Saturday restriction. So right now, on the sand provides no color code. So you don't know if this means available or booked. You don't know when check-in or check-out is applicable. And you can essentially select any date. So I'm going to pick a Tuesday. And as soon as I pick a Tuesday, I get an error message. But I don't get an error message that gives me any detail as to why I received this error message. And that's why when these particular types of restrictions are being used, to where the color coding of the calendar may not identify enough to the user what those restrictions are. A simple message that displays beforehand and stays there throughout the process should hopefully help minimize this. But then if they do make a selection that goes against the restriction, where this red message is now, the message we would put in would show again, and hopefully at that point they would have read it, seen it, and understand, okay, this is the summer months, peak season. There's a restriction here of Saturday check-ins and Saturday check-outs only. So then they can come back and go and select the appropriate dates. But currently on the sand calendar, there's no color coding in regards to that restriction. And then if I was on a unit, similar thing here. I'm on the unit. Okay, now the calendar is going to show some colors, showing that this in red that has been booked, and I cannot select any of these dates. But the white dates I can select, but I could choose a Tuesday and a Tuesday, and then I get another error message. And now I get a message that indicates there's a restriction there, and I can go back and say, okay, I got to look at checking in on a Saturday and checking out. Okay, now I can see a price. Now I can choose how many adults, children, and move on through the booking process. I think that's more confusing than the current setup with Oceanside, and I understand that you feel there might still be a little bit of confusion there for a user. But for the types of things that we would need to change in order to help clear that up, those are customizations. Those are not pieces that are directly included with a template build based on your system and what you're doing with restrictions and other things like that inside the streamlined system. The plugin would need custom configuration to accommodate certain things. But to kind of show you what we've changed in regards to the calendars, just on general search results, I can come into arrival. Let's go to the summer months. And right now, everything's one color. Same exact thing as on the sand. It's just we used a branded color versus all white. And right now, they can select any date. I select a Tuesday or a Thursday. I'm going to go to a Thursday. Okay, I can hit update. And if there are units that do not apply to the restriction, they would show. And if they're all going for those months are going to have that restriction, then I'm going to get this message. Again, why we want to help minimize this happening by putting in a message bar about the restriction. And then if they don't read it, don't see it, or read it and continue on and choose dates outside of the restriction anyways, the message we put in would re-show, hoping to catch their attention that time that there is a restriction, and then they can update their search results accordingly to meet the requirements of the restriction, Saturday to Saturday. So I've done that, hit search, get some properties now. If we go into a unit, come down to the calendar, just kind of want to show you. So what the new plugin offers to help minimize people selecting dates that don't fit within a restriction, if there is a restriction, they actually cannot select them. The color is not to represent that they are not available, but it's to represent when check-in is allowed and when check-in or check-out is allowed, Saturday to Saturday. So right now I have selected the dates 6/1 through 6/8. So it shows that my check-in is on Saturday, and then the checkout is going to be on the 8th. Here is showing that there is an availability to check in on the 15th, availability to check out on the 22nd, or check in on the 22nd to then check out on the 29th. But you cannot select the dates because it does not fit within the restriction. But you can select the dates that apply to the restriction. Okay, if I was to scroll down to the calendar area under availability on the unit page, this is showing for this unit specifically, and this is a good area where a color code, which is a custom thing to build in, would be helpful to explain what the colors mean to a user. And so as you can see here, where there's restrictions applied, they still cannot select those dates. But if I can see here that it's available to check in on the 29th, Saturday to Saturday, number of adults. Okay, I met the restriction, I'm able to go through. So basically the changes that we have made to the plugin and the way the color coding is working, the way date selecting is working, especially when restrictions are being applied, is to help minimize error messages showing up, because historically we have seen that when a user is trying to browse inventory and check dates and they're receiving error messages, especially ones that may not identify why they received that error message, it tends to create a bad user experience, tends to create a little bit of frustration, confusion, and ultimately we see it resulting more in people leaving the site than staying on the site and trying to find a unit to book at that time. So the best thing that we think for you guys is a message to appear during those peak months with that restriction and a color code on the calendars so that it is easily made clear what those grayed out dates represent, what a check-in date and check-out date, what those colors represent, so that a user can easily browse through your properties. But that would be a customized add-on at this point. So let me know how you would like to proceed there.